Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Tuesday, the 22nd of August. Reading through 1 Samuel, today we read chapter 14. The story begins with Jonathan and his armor bearer going and attacking a Philistine outpost, and that plunges the Philistine army into confusion. We're told in verse 15, then panic struck the whole army. It was a panic sent by God. And so the Israelites see the Philistine army panicking and attacking one another and running away. And so they launch an attack to defeat them. And as they go into a forest, and Jonathan eats some honey that's lying on the ground there. And the people say, "Oh, your father said we shouldn't eat today." And they make the following comment. Now the men of Israel were in distress that day, because Saul had bound the people under an oath, saying, "Cursed be any man who eats food before evening comes, before I have avenged myself on my enemies." So none of the troops tasted food. And as a result, they were hungry. As they were hungry, they lost energy and they didn't pursue the attack. And Jonathan made the following comment after he'd had this bit of honey that was lying on the ground. Jonathan said, "My father has made trouble for the country. See how my eyes brightened when I tasted a little of this honey. How much better it would have been if the men had eaten today some of the plunder they took from their enemies. Would not the slaughter of the Philistines have been even greater?" And I'm not sure why Saul made that statement. I suppose maybe it could have been that he didn't want the army to stop, sort of attack the camp and then start getting involved in the plunder. So maybe he thought it was a good idea to put this curse. You're not allowed to touch anything until the end of the day. Seemed like a good idea, but clearly wasn't. The other thing that comes out of this is that when they finally can eat, you have the soldiers going and taking the plunder, slaughtering the animals, cooking and eating it without draining the blood out. And they come and say that you're now breaking the covenant. You're going against the commands of God. You're defiling yourselves by doing this. And then later on, because Jonathan was now under a curse, God didn't answer Saul and give him any kind of guidance. And as I was thinking through it, I thought, one has no idea why he did it. One senses he must have had some reason to do it that he thought was good at the time. He must have thought this was a good thing to do, and clearly it wasn't. And I got to wonder, how many times don't I decide things and say things and do things, which I think is a wonderful idea, whereas in actual fact it's not. And so I was thinking our prayer really needs to be that we will have wisdom and circumspection. That we won't rush into things and make rash statements and get ourselves into all sorts of knots. And so we pray to God, God, give us wisdom and give us circumspection, that we can walk with you wisely and carefully. So be encouraged as you do that, and know that you are blessed.